Now, I actually ask this because I had a really bad experience once upon a time. Brad, I've done a lot of webinars, and one of my first ever, like, I thought everything was going really well, and then I went back into the chat after a couple of minutes, and everyone was saying, like, your microphone is broken, like, you're sharing the wrong screen. Basically, like, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. So now I always ask in advance if everyone can see and hear. And looking in the chat, and I see that Jerry, Shilp and Matthew, they can see in here. Donald, also fantastic. So one quick question before we finalize getting started. So I'm actually really curious to know where people are joining us from. So I'm joining you from New York, and in the chat, I'm kind of curious to hear where folks are tuning in from. Brad, where are you joining us from?
I'm from Alberta, Canada. So it's kind of like, if anyone knows like the Calgary area where the Calgary Stampede is, Banff, the Rocky Mountains, not very far from where I am. So I got a pretty good spot out this way.
Nice. And looking in the chat, we're already seeing people tuning in. Some people are staying up very late because we have people joining from India. And then we have other folks from Canada, Guatemala, Greece, Ohio. So already people from a few different continents already. That's why I really love online education. Mexico City, Alberta, Canada also, Jim.
Cool.
So we might have a neighbor here.
Sweet.
But at least for me, so we're about 1 minute past the hour. So I think we've given the last minute stragglers just about enough time to join us. Now, before I turn this over to you, Brad, I just have a few quick logistical notes for everyone watching just to make sure that your experience with this is as high quality as possible. So I'm just going to very quickly share my screen with everyone. And all right, so you're going to be watching this webinar today. You're watching it on your computer. Your screen will probably look something like this. Now, if you're reading the slides and you're saying like, hey, this is a little bit blurry, it's a little bit hard to read, like there's not enough detail, very easy fix. Just click the gear icon over here, the settings gear, then make sure the quality is the highest one. So it should say 720p. If it's like 240 or 360, that's going to be really low resolution. The other thing, if this video looks a little small, if you're trying to squinting and trying to read it, you can make it full screen. So just hit the full screen button at the bottom right. Now, just as a heads up, when you do that, it'll block the chat. You'll see it on full screen, but you can always exit full screen if you want to ask a question or see the chat. Now, I want you all to ask any questions in the chat during this. I'm going to be jotting them down and then making sure we have time for them at the Q&A with Brad later at the end. But one question that I don't want you to ask, because I'm going to tell you right now, you will get a replay. There will be a replay. You will get it automatically via email. So if you see someone in the chat say like, will there be a replay or will I get a replay? I just want you to give me a hand and just help me out and answer them like, yes, there will. Because honestly, that's often the most common question. So I'd like to answer at the beginning. And now I think it's probably given enough time for those stragglers to come in. So Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you. Why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Cool. Well, hey everybody. Thanks for having me. First of all, Cameron and Teachable. This is really cool. I'm really excited to be here. I'm pretty passionate about what it is that I'm going to be talking about and teaching. I also practice what I preach. I also like to try and take a little bit of an unconventional approach to how I present certain things. I know there's a formula, and I've done webinars and workshops where you follow a pretty straightforward formula, but we've all seen those, and I like to try and add a little bit of a different flavor where I can. So we'll see how this goes. I'm just going to share my screen real quick, and maybe Cameron, you can let me know once you see that, just so we're good to go. Just be a quick sec. All right, so I swapped my screen here.
Yep, I can see the slide. It's not full screen, but is that what you want? Just wanted to double check.
Oh yeah, totally. Because I'm going to be switching around, so you're going to see like behind the scenes a bit. You can see the actual UI of the preview. As long as you can see the main thing here. Is that good?
Sounds good. Yep, we can. And now everyone knows there's 87 slides, so folks are going to be counting down.
Totally right there. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm calling this. I know the title of it is the 4-step automated marketing machine for freelancers, and that is still the case. But last minute, I kind of, in my own working title, I kind of changed it to the feast cycle. As you can see, I crossed out and famine, because that is something that freelancers are all too familiar with, especially if there are some experienced freelancers in the house, or maybe somebody who's been dabbling with freelancing. Feast or famine is closely associated with the income revenue generation of a freelancer. 1 month you're making a CEO's salary, another month or maybe 2 months you are, rice and beans sort of thing. So I call this how to avoid the freelancing feast or famine cycle by building a 4-step automated marketing machine that converts traffic to leads 24/7. So my name is Brad, and I've been essentially earning a good living as a freelancer, a web developer, and an online creator since 2009. And full disclosure, full-time since 2012. So for almost a full decade, I've been working from home for myself, providing for my family, single income household. So I've done pretty well for myself, not because I am, your hero or anything like that, but mainly just because I've figured it out as I went. I'm, still figuring it out as I go. And I think that I have a few things to teach, and I'm maybe a few steps ahead of a lot of people who want to be able to freelance full-time, earn decent income from client work, but also supplementing that with additional offers. So freelancers aren't just tied to doing client work and offering services and charging hourly rates. We can also incorporate things like products, productized services, courses, and various other things. So I'm going to spare you the hero story. I know I can go back into, before I never knew what I was going to be and blah, 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 blah. But, essentially what really matters is I'm doing this. I am a freelancer. I do have client work. I also have other income streams as well. And that's all a part of being a freelancer, so that you can ride those waves. And so one of the biggest things that I've learned in my business as an online creator, doing online business, courses, workshops, webinars, all of that sort of stuff, blogging, content marketing, the marketing of that portion of the business world, the bloggers and the podcasters, is really intelligent and automated if they're doing it right. But freelancers don't seem to adopt this. So I'm trying to marry the two, and it's done some really cool things for me and people who've followed this as well. So essentially what I'm saying is I've, for the most part, figured it out to how to make a good living doing enjoyable work as an online based freelancer, because let's face it, all of us are working online now and from home. So it comes at a good time. Sound good? Cool. So here's the main problem that I'm trying to tackle. The problem is freelancers struggle with income consistency because they stop marketing once a client is booked, finding themselves always back at square one after each and every project. So this is where the feast and famine comes in. It looks like this. The feast and famine right here is income. This is low, this is high. And across here is time. So we've got the feast. This is where you started working. You got a client, you're billing them, or you've collected a deposit, or you're expecting a payment after the project is done. But here's the problem, you've stopped marketing. So right now it's fine. Your lack of marketing doesn't seem to affect you because, hey, I'm getting paid. That's great. But then what's happening is as soon as that project is done and you collect your couple grand, $1,000, $5,000, whatever your project is for that week or those couple weeks, all of a sudden you have no leads, you have nothing in the pipeline. So now you're done working and you have nothing lined up. So your next month, if you're really good about it, maybe a couple of weeks, but most it's like a month, maybe 6 weeks or longer, you start panic marketing and you start doubting yourself and you go, maybe this is just a stroke of luck. Maybe I just got a really good client. I see it all the time with my students. They'll land a really good client and they'll make like 5 or 10 grand and they're just blown away with the amount of money that they are getting paid for like a week or two of work. The problem is that they get too excited and they don't have a plan in place and they're not marketing. And then when they're done, then that's it. You just got a surge of cash flow. And then now you're left with no income stream. And it's fine for a little bit if you save some of that, you give yourself a padding, maybe have additional income streams, a partner or a spouse who is making income to help you through those, I call them valleys. So you got the mountains and valleys, feast, famine. So you panic market, start reaching out to people, you start contacting people, you start essentially bootstrapping your marketing plan from zero again. And then maybe you land a client, maybe a referral comes through from the previous client. Maybe you send out a post or you do some direct reach out, through text messaging, LinkedIn, whatever. And then you get another lead and maybe you land another client. So boom, you're back in the feast. And maybe this is month 3, you feel pretty good again. And you think, oh, you know what? No, this is okay. I'm going to be okay. But guess what happens? You stopped marketing again. Boom, project is done, you collect your bill, and then all of a sudden nothing's lined up and no income's coming in. You do that enough times and you don't fix this issue, which is repetitive, doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to burn out and you're going to quit. That's just what happens. So I saw this pattern early enough in my business because I burnt the boat, quit my job, started freelancing full time, and thought, I'm just going to do this full time. Found out there was a feast or famine cycle, and quickly realized, because we had our first baby on the way, that I can't rely on that. I quit my job and I don't want to go back to that. So I figured out, how do I bridge these valleys? How do I get through this? And so this is what I'm going to be talking about and showing you how to do in your own freelance journey as well. So the biggest struggle I think that freelancers face, among many, but the main one I'm talking about, probably the one that's going to make a big difference for you, is marketing. The biggest struggle that freelancers face is marketing. Okay. So the solution to this, in its simplest form, is always be marketing all the time. But first, a caveat, or a couple perhaps. You can't market something that nobody needs. So I could say the solution is just always be marketing. But if you're marketing something that nobody cares about, that nobody needs, a solution to a non-problem, then it's not going to work. Also, you should be at least somewhat good at what you do. So if you're just starting out, I'm not going to sit here and say, you can start freelancing and make really good money with no skills, no tech skills, no nothing, no passion, no desire, no nothing, thereby just saying everyone is welcome to start doing this. All you need is an internet connection. It's total bogus. You need to actually be good at something. And you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be amazing at it. If you're decent at, say, building a website, heck, it could even be a Squarespace website, or a Wix website where you're just dragging and dropping. You learn the tool over a weekend, boom, you can have a client the following week building their Squarespace site. It's simple and it's bare bones, it's bootstrapped. Another way, let's say with Teachable, if you know your way around tech and there's a big surge of people wanting to teach online courses using Teachable, then you can teach, or you can build the course framework for somebody who has no idea how to do that. Maybe someone who's a little bit older in business and does more face-to-face consulting. Now you can help them do more digital consulting by helping them create a course with Teachable. This is just an example. So you only need to be at least somewhat good at what you do. So like I said, you don't have to be an expert, but you need to know how to do something at least partially well. And you can improve as you go, sharpen the axe as you go. Oh yeah. And you need to also be okay with managing a business. So here's the other thing. Freelancing is not for everyone. And the reality is once you start freelancing, you need to change your thinking from employee, which there's nothing wrong to. I'm not going to sit here and knock the 9 to 5 because a lot of people have lost their 9 to 5 and that's in bad taste by saying that. But anyway, I digress. You need to be okay with managing a business. So as a freelancer, you need to stop thinking like an employee. Employees, they get their job and they do their job well. Freelancers need to think more like entrepreneurs, business owners, somebody who is running the show. Okay. That way you stop thinking about how can I get paid for my skills and how can I get paid for solving a problem. From that, if all that checks out, then we're good to go. Okay. So this whole always be marketing thing, can we really juggle all of it? Because if I'm always marketing, then how am I going to be working? Am I just doing way too much? And then you also just said, Brad, you need to be managing a business. So you got like documenting things, you got client communication, support, maybe bug fixes, issues that come up and arise. Maybe you're doing sales calls, you're doing a lot. Tax time's coming around, you're doing a lot. So how do you really do this without just burning the candle at both ends, burning out and not being able to do any of it? Well, I will get to that. But first, this is where I want everybody here to, maybe you can share it in the comments, you can write it down, as an exercise, feel free to do that. In fact, I encourage you to, even if it's just writing it down on a piece of paper. It's an exercise that looks really simple. It's a temperature test that's going to help you realize if your offer, if your business idea as a freelancer has legs. So it's like a viability test, an initial viability test. So, when people say, hey, what's your elevator pitch? You should be able to say like what you do really quickly and have it be compelling and interesting, in the amount of time it takes to take an elevator ride. So because we're not really riding elevators in close quarters anymore right now, we're going to be doing this online and just in the chat. Okay. So what I want you to do is essentially fill out this sentence. And this is how as a freelancer, an online consultant, even a course creator. I know there's lots of people in the chat who come from different kind of business areas and industries. I want you to be able to fill this question out. So it's I solve problem, so fill in that, for audience by solution. Now, you can switch that around and you can kind of mix and match and move things around, but here's like the basic structure of it. I solve problem for audience by solution. I'll tell you why this matters in a second, but here's some examples. I generate leads for pool companies by building video ad funnels, or I increase sales for course creators by writing engaging long copy sales pages. How about this? I reduce customer churn for SaaS companies by creating engaging customer onboarding experiences, the point where they typically fall off. How do you keep them on so you can have a fan for life? How about this one? I build and manage online stores for local retailers who have closed their physical storefront due to COVID-19. A very relevant one for today. So why would you do this? Why do this temperature test? The reason why is because most freelancers only try to market their skills, and it just doesn't work. So here's some examples. Are you even remotely convinced by this? Imagine that you are a business owner, another business, a company, a retailer, an individual, a solo, entrepreneur, and somebody approaches you with their so-called offer, and it went something like this. I code Angular apps on the internet, or I'm proficient in WordPress. Maybe I make nice web experiences because I am passionate about code. Who cares? Definitely not your client, that's for sure. So the reason why you do this temperature test is so that you can know who do you serve, because your business is not about you, it's about other people. Get that in your head sooner rather than later, because the more you think about yourself and what you need, the less you're thinking about your client and what they need. And you need to also see yourself in a position of service, which is also asking you to practice humility, which is another thing people have a hard time doing today. Practice humility. Who are you serving? Where do they suffer? And how do you solve it? It's not about you. We all are suffering in our own ways. Maybe we've lost, a job. Maybe we've lost somebody to the pandemic. Maybe we have been affected in other ways, like things like the stock market is down, or your job prospects are different, or now everything's changed for everybody. Okay, we all have problems. But in business, especially as a freelancer, the more you think about the other, the better off you're going to be, because you need to figure out who you serve, where they suffer, and how you can solve it, which is exactly why I'm showing you this temperature test. I solve problem. This is your service. What are you solving for audience by solution? The reason you need to do that is because that's where your clients will care. Not, I will build websites with WordPress. Half your clients won't even know what that means. Even if you did something like, I'll set up your course in Teachable. What if they have no idea what Teachable is? Change that to who you serve, where do they suffer, and how you can solve it. Then you're speaking their language. So figure it out. Got it? Now, once we got that out of the way, and that's a whole study in and of itself. I don't expect anyone to just master that temperature test and really have that offer in place just yet. Okay, that takes a bit of time. But now we can start marketing once we've got that, tickety-boo. So what is marketing then? In its essence, marketing is telling people about your thing. Good marketing, however, is telling the right people about your thing. Smart marketing is telling the right people about your thing at the right time. Because if you're just telling even the right people about what you're offering at the wrong time, say the moment they meet you, that's not smart marketing. That's just bludgeoning them. Imagine you met somebody that you were interested in dating, and the moment you saw them, you asked them to marry you. Bad timing. When maybe down the line in the future, perfect timing. Okay, similar idea. Automated marketing is making robots tell the right people about your thing at the right time. This is how we juggle everything. This is how we juggle service delivery and marketing all the time. always be marketing by automating it, okay? But it still needs to be smart and needs to be good, okay? So that's what automated marketing is. And this is where this 4 steps are going to come into play. So imagine that, just especially if you're a freelancer, you're looking to get into it, or maybe you're forced to get into freelancing right now. Imagine if your marketing was automated and it converted website traffic to leads, people who've raised their hand and said, hey, I'm interested in this. And then ultimately clients who then booked you in advance. So they see what you have to offer. They say yes to more information. Maybe you get them on the phone and then they secure you with a deposit knowing that you are booked this month, but they can book next month, and then keep going that until you're essentially booked solid, so to speak, and you can't take any more clients on. Good problem to have. Now you can start raising your prices so that you can either make more money, you can hire somebody to help with service delivery, and so on and so forth. Okay, so imagine that. It'd be pretty great. And it would probably help reduce some stress about the future of your business, right? Cool. So here's what the feast and famine cycle looks like when it's just feast, okay? More or less. And I guess this is an ideal picture. It doesn't look this clean in reality, but you can just imagine it. Here's an illustration. So similar thing, you got feast where you're working, but your marketing is happening. This through line of time is automated marketing. It's using automation to continually market your offer to the right people at the right time. Okay. So this isn't just you just like spamming LinkedIn with, your offer all the time. Although doing manual marketing is totally fine. Okay. But this is your constant flow of marketing. So you're working and you're technically marketing as well. So that project, it finishes off here and then you start to taper down. Normally, this is where you would start to panic and you'd start panic marketing, right? And then you eventually, ideally, get another feast cycle. But because you're marketing all the time, you should ideally have somebody booked in the pipeline, or at least some leads who will convert to customers pretty soon, right? Now you got another feast, client booked in advance. That tapers off. You've got another client lined up. Tapers off, you've got another client lined up. Maybe you start booking yourself so solid that you realize I have enough demand and there's a lineup, but I'd like to be making a little bit more money than what I'm doing because I'm doing a lot of work and my pricing is probably too low. Hint, it is. Okay, so that's where you start to either dial up how much people are filling your marketing machine. We'll talk about that in a moment. Or you tweak the levers, like raise your price, or hire somebody if you want to grow to help with service delivery. Maybe the sales calls, the consulting calls, maybe with the business management. Maybe you spend half your time managing the projects. Hire somebody. You've got enough of demand where you can say, yeah, I can dedicate a certain percentage of my income to hiring someone to taking care of that, thereby giving me more time to do more service delivery and take on more clients. Instead of 1 per month, maybe you got 2 per month or more. So that's what that looks like with this smart marketing that is automated. So now what? Well, what you do is you make the strategy, you build out the system, and then you ship it. Okay. So here are kind of this is where the 4 steps come in. Now you can break all these steps down into micro steps and then micro steps, and then you can have a million steps and overwhelm yourself. But I'm going to give you the top level showing you how you break this thing down. So the strategy is broken down into 4 steps, and then we will mimic that with the system and how we meet the strategy, the 4 steps of the strategy, and build something with 4 steps to mirror it. So the first step is the traffic. So this is the visitors on your website, visitors to your offer. Ideally, it's a website. Ideally, it's a landing page. It's something that is online and easy to connect. I'm not talking business cards or a personal in-person event. I'm talking you have a website, a portfolio page, a landing page, something like that. Okay. How do you get traffic to your website? Now, this is not a masterclass in traffic to your website. That would be a totally different workshop. In fact, it's probably a workshop on Discover on how you increase traffic. But what I'm going to show you is the strategy. Then I'll show you how to build it out. Okay. So how do you get the traffic? Surface level, first connections, talking to actual people, second connections, people, friends of friends or colleagues of colleagues. LinkedIn shows you first, second, and third connections. So you can get introductions. So you can really bootstrap and hustle to get some initial traffic to your offer. Social media, that's consistently posting on social media. If I practice what I preach, I would say automate much of your social media as well. So you're not just always looking at your phone trying to think of a clever tweet. Schedule it out, have all that automated as well. So that can be, you can have a backlog of automated social media marketing as well. Driving back to your offer, okay? Advertising, that's obviously another one. Something's a little bit more advanced. You probably should have your offer dialed in and know that your marketing machine or funnel is actually working properly before you start driving, spending ad dollars to see if you get a return. Blogging, content marketing, vlogging, video, YouTube, lots of other social media tools for video if that's your strength. Podcasting, guest posting. If you don't have an audience and you're starting small, then guest posting. Partner up with someone who's slightly above your weight class and get them on board. Here's a good example here. So Teachable, we're working together here where they're using their audience and I'm using my audience and we're kind of mashing them together. And so I get exposed to new people. And then also people who've never heard of Teachable, and I talk about them all the time. Now they're here. So it's a mutually beneficial, which will inevitably work for everyone, all parties involved. Okay. Interview experts. This is another one. I'm going to attribute this one almost exclusively to Pat Flynn. Probably a lot of people here refer to Pat Flynn from SPI. You interview people who are experts in their field, leaders of the group, moderators of a group on Facebook, LinkedIn, any of the other places, where people network. Interview them for your podcast or your video, your YouTube channel, your blog, and then encourage them to share it with that audience. Now you're seen as an expert. You have someone who has reach, and then you start to grow your audience, send them to your landing page, capture traffic. Okay. So these are some ways to get more traffic. Referrals, obviously, networking, in-person, online, offline, all the same. Okay. So that is the traffic portion. Leads. The next step in the strategy is leads. These are visitors who have given you their email. So traffic is visitors on your website. Leads are visitors who have given you their email. Essentially, permission to market. Now that is Seth Godin. He calls it permission marketing, where people opt in, they say yes, they raise their hand for your message. Excuse me. So visitors who have given your email, how do you get their email? Well, automate it, and we'll show that to you in a second. Everybody knows how this works. And if you don't, that's okay. I'll show you. Opt-in forms, free offerings, email courses, lead magnets, growth tools, such as something that you interact with like a calculator. And in order to get the result, or a quiz, in order to get the result, enter your email. They get something interesting that's relevant to what they're looking for, and you get their email and permission to market to them. Incentives, lead magnets, so on and so forth. Okay. So that is what a lead is. The next step, this is where a lot of people get confused. Okay. Especially freelancers. Leads and prospects right here are different. Leads are not prospects. Prospects are not leads. Okay. Leads come first. These are people who have given you their email. Prospects are leads who want to work with you or who are interested in working with you, who are the next step. These are people who have already booked a free consultation with you. They've got on the phone with you. Maybe they have, let's say, attended a live webinar. Maybe it's somebody who has chatted with you in the live chat on your website, asked some questions about your product or service or something. Requests for proposals. That's another one for freelancers and service providers. They filled out your form on your website, and you got an email that said, hey, this person basically letting you know their project information and wants a quote. So that's another prospect. Email follow-up sequences. These are people who are leads. They went through your email course with some value, teaching them a specific concept. And then people who are following up with you and say, replying to your emails. Automated booking processes. These are prospects. These are people who are, unlike traffic, they just found out who you are. Leads are saying yes to knowing more. Prospects are saying, I think I want to work with you. And they're probably in the stage of considering competitors as well. Okay. And then the fourth stage is customers. These are prospects who hire you. So how do you get customers? I mean, the magic question, right? If I could just give you the magic bullet to that, then we'd all be happy and Bob's your uncle, right? So make them an offer. You got to sell. You have to sell. You can't get customers through just like osmosis or something. You got to make them an offer. You have to close them on the phone through your email follow-ups from your request for proposals, sales pages, sales videos. You need an automated purchase process in place, an automated booking process in place. You need to be able to take a prospect and convert them to a customer. And that's by understanding where they are, knowing who you are. So they're aware of you and your product, and they're aware of their problem, and they're aware that you have the solution. So that's getting them on the phone and tipping them over the edge, giving them a price that they're happy about, promising a result that they are salivating over. So that's, getting customers. So these are the 4 steps in the strategy. You need traffic, leads, prospects, and customers. Okay. And visualize it like a funnel. If you imagine this was wide and this was narrow, that's how it works. You get a large amount of traffic, or let's say you get 100% is traffic, 40% are leads, 10% are prospects, 2% are customers, something like that. And that number varies depending on the industry. So now what you do is you build the system. So you got to capture the leads from your traffic. You have to convert the prospects, and then you have to create clients. This is where the marketing machine comes in place, building that system. So I'll show you what it looks like here on paper, and then I'll give you a more real world view of what this actually looks like in the wild. So here's the system, the 4 steps. You need to capture the leads. So this is from an email form on your website. So the traffic, I showed you the traffic. You have to capture the traffic with an email form on your website or landing page. How? Using an email marketing tool. ConvertKit is one. Flowdesk is another up and comer. SendFox is another one. Everyone's heard of MailChimp. There's tons of different email capture tools. Lots of different software will provide that for you. I have my favorites, and I'll show you mine in a sec. But if you can capture an email and you can follow with them in an automatic way, then you're looking pretty good. In order to get the email, you need to offer a freebie in exchange for the email. No one just subscribes to a newsletter for nothing. No one just gives you their email, gives you permission to market without something in return. So this is where you need a free offering. Your first offer is not a paid one. It's actually a free one. And so it needs to be more valuable than their email and attention. Okay. And that's tricky. So you need to have a lead magnet, an email course, a checklist, a white paper, a case study, a worksheet, something that your target audience, that's why I said you need to know who you want to serve. So what do they suffer with? Okay. The first step to solving that problem is giving them a little bit. Okay. Shave off a little bit of that core offer that you have and show them how to do something. Show them how to solve that problem for themselves. Most people in the early stage where there's not a lot of pain in their suffering, they were willing to do it themselves. So enable them to do it themselves with your email course, your PDF, your white paper, whatever it is, your free video, a private audio recording, whatever it is, even a phone call, something that is going to help them to DIY, because that's where most people are going to be. Okay. And then from that, to the next step, you want to convert leads to prospects with a relevant follow-up email sequence. So if someone says yes to your quiz, fills out your quiz and gives you the email, if somebody says yes to your lead magnet, something enticing, something that makes them go, I want that to help me DIY, to help me in this early stage of my pain, you need to follow up with them. Strike while the iron's hot, to be cheesy about it. So how? You send an automated email follow-up sequence for each new lead who subscribes. And then it should be relevant to your free offering. So don't just give them a free quiz about finding out how much they should be paying for a web designer, and then follow up with my favorite thing to do is smoke meat on my offset smoker. I'm really interested in smoking meat, but if I opted in to find out how much I should charge or how much a web designer costs, I'm going to be totally lost and mark it as spam, right? So it should be relevant to the free offering. So let's say you gave them a quiz and it says, fill out all your information. Here's what you should be looking for when paying for a web designer to work on your project. By the way, I'm a web designer, and I'll show you kind of all the different tiers of what you would pay for and what you should get and what you should expect and what to look out for. The follow-up emails are 5 emails, daily emails that follow up on that core thesis, on that big idea. Why should you pay more? When should you pay less? Who should you look out for? Why should you trust me when clearly I'm going to offer you my web design services at the end of this? All of these things should be relevant to that lead magnet, okay? Converting them to a prospect. Many of them are not going to care. We'll address that later. But some of them are. That's the point. And so, yeah, if you sent a 6-point SEO checklist, your email should offer extra value and guidance on that specific subject, okay? So from there, you create clients with an irresistible offer, something they would salivate over, okay? How? You send them an automated offer sequence that pitches your prospect on your offer, right? So who do I serve? What do they suffer with? How do I solve it? This is where the offer sequence comes in place. Automated offer sequence, okay? Your call to action can be a direct to a sales page to purchase, say, a course, a productized service, or maybe if it's something more personalized, like personalized coaching or consulting or service, a service-based work that you need to talk to the person, your call to action is your booking form, where you can talk to them on the phone and sell them on the phone, answer questions. Your call to action can, like I said, also be a free phone consultation, and make it easy to buy. So if they're saying yes, if they're willing to say yes, don't give them friction for no reason. Make it easy to buy. Set up your automated checkout sequence. Make sure your invoicing system is set up nice and tickety-boo, so it's really seamless. It will make you look very professional as well. Okay. From there, you want to cook up referrals. Okay. So a lot of people stop here. I got clients. Great. But then that's just like, you're going to burn through clients and you're going to run out of people who are going to give you money if you stop there. What you want to do is cook up some referrals. I'm using lots of C's here on purpose. Encourage happy clients to spread the word. So you have people who paid you money. Those are the people who already trust you, who've already said yes, who've already paid you money, who've already seen the value that you offered. Granted, if you did what you said you'd do. What you do is automate this process again. When the project is done, send an automated referral sequence that encourages past clients to tell a friend or colleague. Sometimes even the people who are going to be referrals won't refer anyone to you unless you ask, because not everyone's just like sitting around going, well, the world blew up again today and I'm really nervous about things. You know what I want to do today is send some referrals to Brad. No, they're not going to do that. But if you get an email and say, hey, by the way, I really loved working with you, and it would mean a lot to me if you would spread the message and let a couple people know that might benefit from a similar services that I was able to do for you. And they go, oh my gosh, amazing. Yeah, I know 3 people off the top of my head. Look for their text later today. And those people are the easiest to close. They go, hey, so-and-so sent me your way, and I really trust their opinion. And I'm interested in what you have to offer. I have a couple questions, and then maybe we can work together next week. Oh, freelancer's dream. Talk about it, right? Also, to cook up referrals, not everybody who became a prospect becomes clients. What do you do with them? Do you just let them drop off? No, you send them a regular newsletter to your past clients and your prospects and leads. Meet them where they are. Send them a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter that's relevant to the reason why they signed up for you in the first place. Showing that you're the expert, showing that you know what you're talking about, showing your personality, showing your brand. And in the PS, in the footer of that email, hey, by the way, there's 2 ways you can work with me. You can book a call with me. We could talk about, your project, or, you could buy this course, or maybe you have something else. You can offer them, or refer me to a friend and I'll send you free pizza for doing so. Whatever it is you want to do, whatever works, whatever's on brand. Okay. So that's strategy, the system, then you ship it. You get that system working in the wild. Okay. So I'll show you how it looks. So I showed you what the system looks like, the strategy looks like. I showed you this, like the system on paper. And now what I want to do is I give you a brief little demo. I want to be respectful of your time so we don't go over time and leave time for Q&A and everything. What it kind of looks like when you build out this system. So I'm just going to switch my screen here. Now I got this is ConvertKit. You can use MailChimp, Flowdesk, SendFox, lots of really cool tools out there. My favorite just so happens to be ConvertKit, because as a web developer, I really appreciate when I get to go really deep in the automation. But you don't need to do that. It's just my personal preference. I can really personalize emails to make sure it seems really on target when I'm talking to a specific person. But anyway, any of those tools work fine. My fave is ConvertKit. Okay. Top of funnel, traffic, capturing traffic. So right here is the top of that funnel. I like to call it the marketing machine. Funnel just seems like I'm just shoving a funnel into my engine and putting oil. I don't like it. So marketing machine. It's a machine that constantly markets for you. Okay. So what I have is I have 2 landing pages here. This is a template, but this is very much something that I use in many different forms in my business. So I have a couple ways to capture traffic. Top of funnel, marketing machine landing page A and landing page B. So this is if you're testing. Let's say you've developed an offer for a particular target audience. Let's say you are offering a service to retail shops. And let's say you're offering a similar service to like consultants or law firms. Let's just use 2 different audiences. So 2 different landing pages. Landing page A probably looks something like this. It's just an example. So it's a headline explaining what it is, who it's for, how you solve the problem, and then an incentive to opt in. This is where you capture the email. Okay. And then maybe some information about you. This is just an example landing page. So I'm capturing traffic on that page. So would be like a web page. This would be like a website, a web page, ConvertKit, many other tools let you host web pages on their URL, on their domain, so that you can send that link to somebody and they can opt in live on the internet. So this is an actual live page on the internet. Hopefully nobody goes to it because there's nothing on the other end. Another landing page, if you wanted to test, you can have as many entry points as you want. Okay. So I've got 2 entry points here that I want to send down the same marketing machine. Again, you can add more. What I do here is I tag this one as a specific industry and this one as a specific industry, so that I know these are retail shops. These ones are lawyers. Their account is tagged with what their industry is, just for information down the line. Okay. So then the first step, so we got the traffic, capturing the traffic. Okay. Then you want to nurture that lead to become a prospect. I like to do that with an email course. You can do it with an onboarding sequence, a follow-up sequence, a challenge, whatever it is, but it's a little burst of automated follow-up. So granted, keep this in mind. This happens 24/7. So if somebody goes to your landing page tonight at 11:45 p.m., they're going to be going through this sequence on their time. Day 1 is Wednesday for them. Somebody signs up 2 days from now, day 1 for them is Friday. So it's always somebody's in the marketing machine. It's not you finishing a project then going, oh man, I got to contact my list again. No, it's always happening 24/7. So email course template, again, you follow up. I like to do 5 days, 7 days. I've had clients that I've built these things out for and they do 6 days, whatever works, that they can deliver their message in a short burst of time that is valuable and teaching them something or guiding them through, a follow-up to what they just downloaded or accessed. Okay. All pure value, showing your expertise and your, what that how to do something, you're the authority here. And it's something that they're interested in opening every day in their email for a few days. Okay. Then what I do is I wait a couple days. The next step is converting that lead to a prospect. So we did the email course. What we want to do is, in order to get them as a customer. So now in this case, ideally they are prospects. Okay. So they warmed up to us more. They know who we are and the value we have to offer. Now we want to pitch them something. We want to offer them something. Okay. So you have a pitch sequence. I have done 7-day pitch sequences. I've done like month-long pitch sequences where you only send like an email, like maybe 1 email or 2 emails a week. And it's like a longer campaign, or maybe it's just like a short burst where it's just like, it's available today and not available tomorrow. Maybe it's ongoing. But the idea is you have a pitch sequence. So now you've taught them something, you've given them something in abundance, and you're very generously. And now you just turn the tables a bit. They're going to be more welcoming to that. Okay. All automatic. Someone's going to get this pitch sequence on any given day. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to start the pitch sequence on a Monday. So you can say, I like to say, start the pitch sequence out the previous Thursday or Friday, saying, hey, by the way, I hope you enjoyed the last few emails that you got from me. Hey, by the way, just so you know, next week I'm going to be letting you know about how you can work with me if you're interested in that. Just to give them a little fair warning. So they're not like, oh, hold up, where'd this come from? Just being upfront. I'm all about marketing yourself honestly. Okay. First email comes in through a Monday, and it's an interesting email, an introduction to your product or service. This isn't going to be a masterclass on copywriting and what you should write in your emails. I have templates for that, and we can talk about that at another time. But you send some emails. I like to do once a day, maybe every other day, depending on your style. And then you close on, say, like a Friday. Okay, so you have a pitch sequence that essentially tries to get them to either purchase, say, your course, your service, to book a paid coaching call, consulting call, or one of my favorites, if you have a product or service that is more than say a couple $1,000s, where someone might not be willing to just put their credit card in on just like a sales page, get them on the phone. Like web designers, developers, people who are building something, that's not a cheap service. And so you probably are going to want to talk to that person on the phone, and you'll have better luck. So instead of sending them to a sales page saying, give me $2,000 to build your website and never talk to me, say, book a time on my calendar and we'll have a chat and we'll answer any questions you have. And then if we're a good fit, I'd love to book you in. I'm booking into August and I'd love to slot you in for a spot. Okay. Works great. So that's what your pitch sequence is. From the pitch sequence, let's say you got a customer. Most are not going to do that. Like you're going to have, 95% of people aren't going to take you up on your offer at that time. That's fine. You drop those people into your evergreen newsletter. This is where you cook up referrals from leads, prospects, and customers. And your evergreen newsletter is like a weekly or a monthly email. I like to do it weekly. where you just add some value, content pieces, podcasts, interviews, how-tos, articles, tutorials, things you found interesting and shared that are relevant to them and what you're offering. Every now and then you can also throw in a pitch. I like to, in the PS of my emails, say, here are a few ways you can work with me. And then I give them a couple of different ways that you can work with me. And in ConvertKit, you could do things like personalize what message they see. So not everyone sees the same thing. So that's what I like to do with the Evergreen newsletter. And you keep them in the loop. So people are always getting content from you on any given day of the week in perpetuity, if that's even a word, because you built out your marketing machine. Okay. So then from there, you're cooking up referrals. Let's say that they purchase your service. So I have a tag here says, okay, pull them out of this entire thing and drop them into here once they've purchased the service. Okay. Then you onboard the client once you've onboarded the client. So this is the onboarding automated as well. So you're not manually onboarding all the time. Evergreen newsletter, the same thing as the other people get, so that you're always top of mind, encouraging referrals and maybe repeat customer purchases. And let's say the project is completed. You can also add a tag. So you could tag that customer as, okay, the project is done. Boom, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Offboard the client. Send them a thank you email. Send them a free t-shirt. Send them roses. Send them a note that says, hey, I'd love for you to let people know about, like, how would you rate my services? Get some feedback, questions. And then also you can encourage referrals and testimonials. Okay. And then finally, I just send that to the Evergreen newsletter as well. So this is how the system looks in its simplest form. I know for some people, they might go, what? That's not simple at all. But that's why I've outlined it. That's why I put it here in the slides. I have it here outlined in the template. There's lots of really funky and cool things you can do with that. Okay, so back here, just some quick thoughts on how you would feed that system. So let's say you build that system, okay? How do you get your first few leads? Well, it's not rocket science. You just start really small. You share your freebie offering with people with your network. People in your network, first connections, second connections. You're hustling and bustling at this point, okay? Here's a good example. I love this one. Feel free to try this actually if you want. In fact, I encourage it. On Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever works better for you. I typically find it works best on Facebook. But a lot of professional stuff and kind of networking happening where people have the context of business on LinkedIn as well. So I've heard results from both. So you share your offering. So here's an example. This is just like a theoretical post that I kind of mocked up, but I've done this for myself before, and also had my students try this as well. It works a surprising amount of times. So like, hey friends, I'm launching a new service in my business to help retail shop owners who've had to shut their physical doors due to COVID-19 to start selling their products online in as little as 48 hours. I'm offering a few introductory spots at a highly discounted rate right now, as it's a totally new service. So if you know of a local business owner or who's been negatively affected by this pandemic and needs some help converting everything online, would you mind tagging them in this post or just sending me a DM? Oh yeah, by the way, there's $100 in it for anyone who sends me a paying client, just as sweeten the deal. And then a link, how to convert your physical store into a profitable online store in 48 hours. Boom, that link, where does that link go? Landing page with email opt-in, with free offering. Boom, in the marketing machine. All you have to do is get people to the door. And then if you've built out the marketing machine right, then your marketing should be doing it all the time. And so I've tried this where you actually straight up offer your service. Send me a DM and we will and I'll offer you my service right away. Still works. This way probably would have an even better conversion rate because it's easier to say yes to a free thing than it is to a $2,000 thing without knowing somebody. Okay. So here's how it would look in like a wireframe mock-up kind of funnel flow. So you got traffic. Okay. So Facebook posts, LinkedIn, text message, emails, phone calls, networking, ads, you name it. There's a million ways to get traffic. Okay. Even if it's small at first. You post out your landing page or something that collects traffic, that encourages traffic. Okay. So that's that Facebook post I showed you. Get them to your landing page, not to your contact me page, not to your bio page, not to some random Twitter tweet that you tweeted, not to your Instagram. No, get them to a landing page that is going to get their email if they are the right person and your messaging is right. Okay. With an opt-in, the freebie, the incentive. Okay. So it says like, shut your doors due to COVID-19. I can help you start selling online in little as 48 hours. Give me your email and I'll show you how in the video. Okay. Now you got their email. You send they're in the marketing machine. your email sequence, your email follow-up sequence, your email course, okay, your pitch, all of that, driving traffic to the video page or the book a call page or the sales page where the transaction or the action is administered, right? So video page in this case, a how-to video tutorial, a video sales letter saying, hey, my name is Brad, and I help, retail shops who've had to close due to COVID-19 get online in as little as 48 hours. Here's how it works, and I'll show you how to do it. If you want me to help you with this, click the link, book a call, and we'll chat and see if I would be a good fit for you and if we'd be able to help you out, okay? And if they booked a call, close the client over the phone. If they didn't book a call, send them your weekly newsletter and drive that traffic back to the video page for when they are ready. It's how it works, okay? A real world kind of mock-up using actual, these are still mock-ups, so this is a fake post. I didn't actually post this exact wording, but I do have this exact funnel in place offering a service to my clients with ads running, Facebook posts, content marketing. I do what it is that I say that I do. So you got to post somewhere that's getting traffic to your landing page. You get their email, you follow up, okay? Video page with a video sales letter or some sort of offer, book a free consultation. Did they book a call? Boom, you got a client. Did they not book a call? Evergreen newsletter, drive them back to your video page. The more you feed the funnel, the more you get that marketing machine to get people inside of it, it's going to be always marketing so that when you close a client, you can focus on working with the client because your marketing is always happening, okay? So why is this important? Because the system is scalable and works for you 24/7. So this is a little screenshot. It works whether you have one lead or 20,000 plus leads or more, okay? So this is like a little snapshot of a few days ago, like 6 days ago or something, of like my daily intake of leads. Now, granted, they don't come from one place. Lots of different places where I capture leads. I've been doing this for a really long time. So I've got probably like 1,000 different entry points to my marketing machine or various marketing machines that go to different offers and services and products and so on and so forth. But this is the idea that it works the same. I'm not sending 5 million emails. That would never happen. But my robots are sending 5 million emails, okay? And I don't have to lift a finger. I just have to build it out properly, okay? Now, most freelancers, they don't do this because most freelancers only focus on service delivery. Freelancers, a lot of the time, just like doing the work. They're creative people, they're maybe technical people. So you're either really creative, like a designer or somebody in that field, and you want to express your creativity by doing really good work. Good. That's what we want from really good designers. Technical people like developers or somebody who's doing something a little bit more logistical, they don't want to talk to people. I get it. I'm both a creative and a coder. So I'm okay talking to people and I like being creative, but when I'm working, I don't want to talk to people. I work in my basement by myself for like 8 years. Okay. So I'm okay not talking to people. I'm actually just talking to my screen. I know there's people over there, but I don't see you. Okay. So freelancers like doing service delivery. That's the fun part, but they don't focus on marketing, which is why feast and famine always happens. Which is why it's like a uniquely freelancing, service-based, client-based thing, let alone implementing an automated marketing asset, okay? So that can be your competitive edge. You're always looking for a competitive edge. How can I stand out from the competition? Easy. Freelancers are super lazy with marketing. Just because most freelancers don't do it doesn't mean you should do the same thing. Take a page from the bloggers and the course creators and the content marketers who have big audiences and automate everything. And they sell like a product. They sell a plugin. They sell software. We can do the same thing. And it works so good because the freelancing world is not oversaturated with landing pages and opt-ins, okay? I can help you do that, okay? This is where I pitch. But don't worry, I'll throw underhand. It'll look something like that. Pretty awkward, okay? I know I'm supposed to transition here really seamlessly and blah, 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 but I like to do things different. I have a course, it's called Freelancing Essentials. Cameron's gonna turn on the link here on the page where you can buy the course. I'll let you know about it and you can make the decision. It's a course for creatives and coders, okay? If you wanna get clients, ideally, you're creative type, maybe you're a coder, web developer, but really if you are offering a service to clients, if you want to be able to deliver value to your clients via service and you're ready to go pro and work from home by choice, not by, happenstance in the world, If you want to actually be able to make a decent living as a freelancer, that's what this is about. So here's what you're going to learn. How to change your thinking from employee to entrepreneur. I mentioned that at the top of the show here. So you can stop pursuing one-off gigs. Freelancers do that all the time. They're gigging all the time. You're not a musician, okay? You're a business owner. And I'm a musician as well. So no offense to musicians, I'm kind of talking to myself there. And you can focus on building consistent revenue streams so that you can have that steady flow and growth, and you can control it a little bit more. So it's not this beast that's wildly out of control. You can tame it. How do you find a profitable niche so you can focus your marketing on somebody and stop just yelling at everybody, because nobody cares, but somebody does. And if you talk to them, because you know who you want to serve, what they suffer with, and how you can solve the problem, then we're cooking, okay? We're cooking with gas. You need to know the specific skills. So we'll show you kind of what are the specific skills and responsibilities that you must focus on and which ones you must abandon. So a lot of the time, you know, we're thinking that we need to learn new skills beyond the skill learning hamster wheel, the software learning hamster wheel, always chasing the shiny new object. No, there are a few core fundamental skills and principles that you need to know as a freelancer and a business owner, so you can focus on those. And then what do you do with the rest? What do you do with, if you don't like project management, but you have to do it anyway? Or if you don't like, you know, service delivery. A lot of freelancers think they have to deliver the service. You don't. If you want to open a coffee shop, you don't have to be a barista. You could run the coffee shop and have a good barista do the latte, man. Okay? You don't have to do the latte if you're not good at latte art. Okay? You can get someone to do it for you. It's a business. All right? That's another thing. You're an entrepreneur, not an employee. You don't even have to be your own employee. All right. So we're going to help you figure out which skills and responsibilities you need to focus on and which ones you need to abandon. Eliminate, delegate, automate. I'm all about that EDA. Also going to help you find your niche and that niche's biggest problem, where they suffer, so you can craft an irresistible offer and build it into your marketing machine. You need to focus on where they're suffering, not where they're itching, where they're suffering. Because anyone can scratch an itch on the door jam and do the bear dance. You know the grizzly bear dance where you like, you know that? You ever seen that video? Google it. After this, of course. Suffering, not itch, okay? You need to solve a big problem and then build it into your marketing. Also, how do you land your first or next paying client and then always be marketing automatically? What are the different traffic sources? How do you improve your marketing? How do you build it into your marketing machine so that your marketing machine can be in place, but then you're starting to actually feed traffic into it? And how do you land more clients? How do you start simple? How do you start humble? And then how do you scale it up from there? Okay. By the end of the course, this is essentially what I'm going to say here. You will not be a six-figure freelancer. That'll require more work and a reputation and more time. It happens. It can happen. I am a six-figure freelancer, and I have lots of students who are either on the way there, and a few of them that I know of who have reported this to me, who are able to do this. Okay. So, but you will not, by the end of this course, be a six-figure freelancer unless you already are. You will not live a life of luxury. You need to stop dreaming of ease and weightlessness and start doing real work consistently in the right way. It'll pay off, okay? I'm just trying to show you ways that you can make it simpler and more targeted so that your efforts are put in the right area, right? So you have more leverage. You also will not be amazing at what you do. That'll come eventually, but for now, just work at sharpening the axe. It's okay to be humble and not be that good at what you do. You will improve over time, okay? What you will be able to do by the end of the course is know your niche. You will know your niche, so you can focus on the people who you should be marketing to. Stop yelling at everybody and start talking to somebody. Focus on a few key skills that matter, so you can stop trying to master the latest trending skill or software. So remember, if you want to start a coffee shop, you don't have to be the barista or do the accounting. You will build an irresistible offer your clients crave, so you can start selling an outcome rather than selling your skills. I will solve your problem and you'll be able to do this rather than I do HTML because it makes me smile. Nobody cares. You will book a paid client, okay? By getting your offer in front of the people who need it most. Bootstrap marketing, then you start working your way into building your marketing machine and you start growing from there. And also you'll be able to gain confidence and a marketing plan so that you can forge forward with confidence, clarity, and actually start seeing ongoing results, because a course isn't going to change your entire world, but what it will do is give you something practical you can apply and then start working with it moving forward, applying the principles ongoing. Who's this for? It's for you If you're a creative, a coach, a coder, maybe you're just starting out. If you can't break that $1,000 a month client feast or famine cycle, you know, kind of if you're getting started, if you're overwhelmed by information overload, if you honestly Google how to start freelancing right now, it returns at least 14 million results. Good luck with that. And one of those articles in there on the first page is actually me, which is cool. But again, there's millions and millions of articles. I'm just trying to give you something a little bit more concise. You want an honest and legitimate opportunity to earn an income online without needing to resort to get rich quick schemes. You want flexibility to spend your time with family, to work from anywhere, to earn an extra income in this time, in this world right now. Maybe it's not to work from anywhere and travel because we can't really do that. But what we can do is work from home by choice and have more flexibility. Say in the fall, we need to start homeschooling kids again. This is not for you if you don't want to work with clients. Client work is fundamental part of freelancing. Okay. You're not a freelancer if you don't have clients. Okay. If you're already full-time, this is going to be a little too simple for you. I've got ways that I can help you, but this one is not it. This is not for you if you want to use marketplaces like Fiverr, Upwork, or whatever else is out there. I don't know how to win on those, and most people don't. Okay. That's a race to the bottom. And this is not for you if you want to get rich quick. There's plenty of gurus out there who are willing to promise you that. So does the course actually work? Well, I don't like that question because courses don't work. You do. The question really should be, will the course help me work? In that case, yes. The course will show you what to work on and when to work on it. Okay. Testimonials. This is where I'm supposed to show you all the success stories so that you can be convinced that I am your hero. But I'm just going to be a bit more realistic. And also sharing the refund rate of people who aren't happy with the course isn't really as glamorous. 7%. That's the percentage of refunds I get on this course. FYI. So yeah, testimonials. Couple testimonials here I'll show you. This guy, Aaron, working with him, taking the course, almost right away, he's booking a $10,000 client. He is already an established freelancer on the side, but we kind of guided him in the right direction so he can charge way more than he was charging, and he landed a pretty sick client. All right, Jamie, 5 clients, made $10,000. She is a serial online course taker, as she says in her own words, but taking my courses in the freelancing realm have been some of the most helpful to helping her actually get more clarity. Terry, he's a new dad. He needed to kick up the arse in his own words, and taking this course, it's goal-oriented. My courses are not about theories. It's about actually applying things so that you can actually start seeing results, not just going, well, that sounded nice. Harold, he's one of my favorite students. He's deaf. All of our videos are closed captioned for him and any deaf student who decides to come our way. And we've helped him gain some confidence and start generating leads for his business. We're actually still helping him trying to craft his offer so that he can target it more towards more deaf business owners. Gina, $1,100 on the side, just for those people who are starting out. You know, sometimes those small wins are the best ones. Now, I'm going to give you a quick little look inside, real quick look inside the course, because I know we're coming up on the hour here, and I really want to be respectful of your time because we said it was going to be about an hour. Okay, so switching my screen here really quick. When you join up, it's straightforward. There's 5 major sections of the course: mastering your mindset, workshopping a profitable niche, understanding the skills you need to succeed, crafting an irresistible offer. And then we got launching your offer to your audience and your marketing. Each of those come with really nice videos, as you can see, doing cool faces. They're transcripted like this. Any references are in there, kind of like show notes in a podcast or something. And then you've got a welcome packet here, or each one of these actually has workbooks. So for example, this is a workbook down here. When you finish a module, I actually have an automated smart workbook. So it's an actual form that will help you do the workbook. So it's not just the generic PDF. I've got that down here if you want the generic PDF where you could print out and do all the cool stuff. That's totally fine. People like that. But I actually have like a nice, like interactive workbook that you would get the results emailed to you after as well. Okay, so that's the course. We go through all these core things that we've talked about. Also, to augment that, because you probably want to also talk about things like getting traffic or marketing or improving your marketing or building out, you know, aspects of your marketing machine. That's what the community is for. So with the course, you get access to the community. You'll enroll and you'll see something like this: included courses, and mastermind is there. Once you click on that, you will be able to access the mastermind, which is a closed circuit sort of network of people just in these, in the Freelancing Freedom courses here. And we talk all the time, Monday to Friday. I'm there for support. So is my business manager. The students are sharing their wins, their losses, their ideas, getting feedback, collaborating, helping hold each other accountable to their goals, things with pricing, all these sorts of things. There's an area here where you can discover different topics that might be relevant to your journey. Taking a little while to load up here. There we go. You can see all these different topics we discussed. So it's taking what you're learning here in the course and augmenting it above and beyond so that you can actually get engagement and feedback from me and the group of people in here, which is an intimate group. We got about 120 people in here right now. So you're almost always addressed rather than in a sea of sameness. Okay. Now, the final thing here I want to show you is that you get weekly office hours. Every Thursday, I go live just for the group of people in the courses and answer all their questions, give them feedback on their marketing, their websites, their copywriting, their marketing machines, answering pricing questions, client questions, all that sort of stuff. You can see it's a very active group. It's very fun. And we do that every week. I've been doing that for years. So I'm here to show up for you. I don't just ghost on you once you give me money. So switching back to that's the course, by the way. It is what it is. And it's pretty great. I've been doing it for a long time and I love doing it. How much? Regular $295, but you can join right now, probably right on the screen actually, for $100. Steal of a deal. You can honestly, even if you paid $300 for it, your first paying client, which is our goal to help you get that within the context of the course, let alone ongoing in that community, you're going to pay for that time and time and time and time again. It's really not a big ask. $100, I think, is a pretty good steal of a deal for that course. I'd love to have you in there. That offer is available until August 7th. And I totally encourage you to join us. I would love to see you in there. We're really flexible with refunds. We have a 30-day refund policy, but I take it on my own shoulders beyond that. If you're not happy at any point with this specific course, the Essentials course, then let me know and I'll make it right. Whether that means I'll give you a free consulting call to walk through something or just give you your money back. So really flexible because I stand behind what it is that I do. Okay, so I'm here. If we have some time for questions, Cameron, feel free to jump in here and let me know if there's anything that someone wants me to address because yeah, I've wrapped up. You could see page 86 of 87.
All right, Brad. So we did have a couple of questions coming in here. So one thing that we had here was Alan. So Alan said, I don't know if I have a product or if I really have anything to offer. So how would you actually kind of go about if you're thinking about, what can I offer the world? What kind of product can I put together? Where might you look for that sort of inspiration?
That's great. That's awesome. You start with that temperature test that basically you want to get to being able to answer that temperature test. I solve this problem for these people by doing this. Now, that's not going to come easy. It sounds simple, but it's actually pretty difficult to get to that a lot of the time. So take some research, some brainstorming. So you need to answer each of those questions. Who are you interested in working with? Okay. What group of people? Maybe there's an industry or a group or a niche group of people that you are interested and passionate about working with. Write down all those ideas. Maybe you've got like a dozen different ideas. Maybe it is say online business owners, for example. Maybe it's different types of church groups. Maybe it's a specific industry like lawyers, law firms, attorneys, things like that. So write down everyone's got their own unique interests. Write all those down. And then for each of those, think about where do they suffer? What are all the different ways that group of people suffers? Okay, not like where are they itching? What's inconvenient for them? No, where do they suffer? And write all those down. So this is a lot of writing, okay, and exploring. A Google sheet, spreadsheet, whatever works for you. And then beside that, for each of those suffering items, what would be a solution that maybe realistically you could provide? Okay, so this is where you have to actually workshop your niche as part of the course, workshop your offer. So your offer is what solution you have to a specific problem for a specific group of people. So you have to workshop it. It's not as much as You know, some people just know, some people just have that like, oh, I'm really good at this. I'm a savant in this area and I've got an in with this crowd of people. You're like, okay, well, you've got your work, laid out for you. That's nice. Not all of us have that. We have to work to figure out where we should go. And then you do trial and error. So I'm all about bootstrapping your marketing first, validating your offer. So in your marketing machine, you got 2 or 3 different landing pages. Maybe you think your offer is a specific solution for these people, and that's one landing page, but landing page 3 is a slightly different offer for a slightly different version of that group. And you realize that's the one. And then you get rid of the other ones and you focus on that and work from there. So you look to your skills. What do you have to offer? What are you interested in? Who are you interested in? What sorts of problems could you see yourself waking up every morning being excited to solve? And who would you be excited to serve? Let's say for the next year, 5, 10 years. And then you're on to something. It takes work. It's not something that comes to you easily, no matter what anyone says. There's only a few people who have that.
A good question here. And this came in from Jordan. So Jordan's wondering a little bit about, a tactical method here. And this is actually something that I'm curious about because I've seen this brought up before. So I know that now with Facebook, you can actually see all the ads that any page is running. Like you can go and you can see that somehow. So does it make sense to see like the ads that competitors or people in the space are running for anything like that?
That's a really good question, actually. So I'm going to say yes and no. So the benefit of that is the transparency that you get access to is really cool because you kind of get a peek behind the curtain. You kind of get to sneak into the office, so to speak, and see how you're marketing, how a competitor is marketing their services. What you don't see, however, is their reputation. You don't really see what it's like to work with them. You don't see their connections, their network. You don't see that brand, that depth of brand connection that their leads and their customers have. You probably don't even see actually how much they're spending on ads. So I know that you can look at a competitor and go, hey, that's a good ad. I'm going to funnel hack them and do the same thing and do a similar ad. What you don't see is that it took them 3 years to land on a good ad that works for their voice. They got really good targeting in place and they spent $1,000 a day. If you don't have that information, then just copying somebody verbatim could lead you to complete disappointment because you don't have all these meaningful input, this meaningful data that will give you context to if that's working, how it's working, and how you might be able to apply it. So simply copying somebody, if it's kind of where I think we're getting at here, because it is a strategy you can do and see what people are doing. Problem is when you start doing what other people do, it's kind of like you're a knockoff version of the real thing. And we all know what that's like. If you will go out to buy a particular product and then like a knockoff appears on the market and they're doing kind of the same thing, it's not the same. It's not the original. So you got to find a way to be original. What you can do instead of looking at, say, their ads and maybe their funnels is read between the lines underneath the surface. What are the principles that you can rely on that maybe they're using rather than the ad copy or their targeting? Because there is no magic targeting group. There is no magic number for ad spend. There is no magic trick. It's, trial and error and being aware of your own brand, your own audience, and using marketing principles, not just top level tactics. I hope that answers the question and didn't go too off the rails.
I don't think that it went off the rails. So I'd say one last question here. So we had someone in the chat and they were asking about your site, or so they brought up your site and they saw, there are all these kind of incredible resources on there. Like, you have all your pages, like, start an online consulting business. You have all these kind of great resources on there. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got started, like building these sort of evergreen, great resources on your site, like when those started becoming a big part of your marketing?
Cool. Yeah, that's an awesome question. So I started out like it is that I laid out here, really small, just first connections, second connections, referrals, really bootstrapping those first few clients. From there, I started documenting and teaching. So, freelancing income is up and down. And part of what you need to do is share your expertise that would help solve the problem for your clients. So I found in my own area, so I started just for fun creating coding tutorials, teaching people how to design websites, teaching people how to code, but in an interesting way. A lot of people in that space are quite boring. So I just I brought my own flair and people tended to like it. And so what that did, what I didn't realize, which I now realize in hindsight, is people liked me, my personal brand, which I didn't try to do. It was just me. And they saw that I was good at what I did. And so then there were these people who were actually my target customers, like small business owners, real estate people, people who were trying to set up websites to like collect leads and get customers. They were trying to figure out how to code their own websites. And I was showing them how to do it the best possible way you can with all of my expertise laid out for everyone to see. And they just went, I bought your course on how to do that. And I realized you're just the best for the job. Can I hire you? And so then I started stringing it together and realizing, oh, I'm teaching how to solve the problem, how to DIY, building an audience, collecting their emails, and then they're ultimately asking to pay for me. And then I started realizing, oh, I should just implement this as an actual part of the marketing strategy, not just a side thing. So your content marketing, your teaching, your email courses, your blogging, if it's relevant to your target audience and solving their problem and helping them in their journey, then that's where you could start collecting emails. And I didn't start off with like big traffic or any of that. It was just little opportunities here and there that would collect leads that came with trust for what they saw. And then they gave me permission to market and they asked to work with me. Eventually I just built it in so that instead of having them ask, I just encouraged them to ask. And that ultimately meant more consistency.
All right. And I think that's it for questions. So Brad, anything else that you want everyone to know or any last words? And while you do that, I just want everyone in the chat to say thank you so much to Brad for really sharing generously your time, your energy, and your knowledge today.
I really appreciate it. I'm grateful that you guys asked me to do this. This was so cool. I've loved Teachable, been using it for a very long time before it was even called Teachable. So I'm kind of like one of the hit Teachable hipsters, I guess you could say. But no, like if you have any questions, I mean, you could send us an email, support@freelancingfreedom.com. You can connect with me on social media and all those places. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in joining up, I'd encourage you to do so. And yeah, that's it. I really appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks so much, Brad. And everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Hope to see you all on another Teachable workshop soon.